Forgiveness and peace in a relationship. Forgive me, I have sinned. Forgive me, I have sinned. 1. I say to you, resist not evil, but whoever shall strike you on your right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man sue you at the law and take away your coat, let him have your cloak also. And whoever shall compel you to go a mile, go with him 2. Give to him that asks you and turn not away from him that would borrow from you. You have heard that it has been said, you shall love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say to you, love your enemies, bless those who curse you, do good to those who hate you and pray for those who spitefully use you and persecute you, that you may be the children of your Father who is in heaven. For he makes his sun to rise on the evil and on the good and sends rain on the just and on the unjust. For if you love those who love you, what have you? Matthew 5:39-46. Forgive 70 times 7 times. Matthew 18:22. The mentality of this culture almost seems to have legitimized affairs, what with all the cheaters that parade themselves daily on the talk shows without any apparent guilt whatsoever, and as I already mentioned, there are plenty of weak-willed women out there who've got no strength on their own, so they stay with the jerks rather than go out and create their own lives. It's a tragedy, another nail in the coffin of the traditional family structure. Don't buy in the mass media flippant treatment of the matter. Take your marriage vows very seriously and think twice before you cheat. If you're the victim, think seriously before keeping the bum. An affair is the precipitating factor in the breakup of many marriages. If you do it, be ready for the consequences. If I was that klutzy or dumb to get involved with someone who would cheat, I'd get rid of them right away, no discussion, no guilt in my mind whatsoever. The marriage vows say marriage is an institution not to be entered into lightly, yet so many people cross the line. The consensus seems to be middle-aged men who cheat with younger girls, but everybody does it. The law of karma states that everything you do will come back to you. If you hurt your spouse by cheating, expect anger. If she forgives you, it may not be so clean, there may be a lot of tension and mistrust there for a while. Anger is best fought with love. Make the first move and keep at it. It will be tough on the kids too. Learn from the experience, drop the anger one way or another and move on. Don't let the cheater destroy you by you yourself letting the anger destroy you. It's not what you say, it's how you say it, so don't use a contemptuous tone of voice. If you're a cheater and want to stay with your beau, the first thing is that you must get rid of the third person. You have to prove yourself to your babe. Show her you're sorry. Act like you feel guilty. Let her talk while you humbly listen. Take her verbal dumping as your act of contrition. Be romantic. Do things for her. Seduce her as though you're both 18. You can't be out at odd hours and be unaccountable for long periods of time. You have to rebuild that trust if you want it and be at home with her and the kids. Maybe you might offer to go to some kind of counseling or some weekend marital retreat kind of thing. Don't just go for a romantic getaway. If you don't talk about it, it won't do you any good. Take your time to heal it. Don't expect miracles. It won't happen overnight. They're the bad guy, not you. A lot of cheaters try to turn it around and make you look like the nerdy nag. Don't play into that low blow bull. The two factors of saving a marriage after an affair are acceptance of the other regardless of the past and change for the better. The affair may bring the two partners in a dull marriage to a new understanding and revive the marriage, but it will cost a lot of pain, forgiveness, and hard work. You must rebuild the covenant of fidelity from your wedding vows. It's that simple. Get them out, read them over, maybe renew your vows in a formal ceremony. Set limits on your involvement with the opposite sex, like you won't have drinks after work, lunch together alone, be alone working together at night, etc. When you see it happening, you will know it's a warning sign and have enough sense to back off. It's all about temptation. There was a story in the Bible which had the queen, the wife of Joseph's boss, the king, coming onto him. He didn't hang around to let it heat up. He did the right thing and got the hell out of there before something started. You have to stop it right away when the flirting starts. The absolute best thing I ever saw about a cheating man who really tried to change was that he started to go to church regularly with his wife. This is a good outward sign that you're actively trying, and some of the preacher's ranting might even rub off. So if you've been caught cheating and want to make it back, start going to church either alone or with her. If you cheat and don't get caught, you may be caught up in the dilemma of whether to tell or not. If the affair's over anyway, it may be a good idea to let sleeping dogs lie. If the guilt is getting to you and you decide to tell, if you're a woman, do it in a public place where he won't be able to take a hit at you if he decides to without getting arrested. Expect anger, shock, and numbness from your partner. Just play it cool. Get past the blame and try to recover some sanctity in the relationship. Finally, if you're in a lukewarm relationship and suddenly see your soulmate somewhere, I believe you should go for love, get an amicable divorce, then marry your love pie. Don't sneak around and cheat. Plan it all out and execute it. Give the first wife some money, then tell her straight up it wasn't meant to be. To me, this is qualitatively different from sneaking around and cheating. Try hashtag 307.736 or HQ806 at the library. Forgive me, I have sinned too. Anybody can get cheated on. Not everybody cheats. Some people won't cheat even if they have the opportunity. Don't blame yourself or let your husband blame you, like saying you're too fat, no fun anymore, etc. If he says that, then say, well, let's get a divorce. Temptation is everywhere, especially on skanky TV shows. If you suspect your spouse is cheating, ask him straight out. Most people will lie when first confronted. Admitting it is better for him if he wants to save the marriage. You can hire a detective to follow him or snoop on his cell phone or computer. Expect an arrogant guy with lots of money to cheat. They feel entitled. Expect that your husband will probably cheat if he's good looking, charming, and has money. Protect yourself from the effects of cheating by putting it all on him, not you. He cheated. It shouldn't affect who you are to yourself. Your self-respect should be intact. You can choose to stay or go. Ask him what he wants. Don't believe him if he says he's sorry and will never do it again. Watch him. See if he sticks to his word. An affair doesn't necessarily mean the end of a marriage. Honest, open talk can save the marriage. The question is, are you willing to trust him again? You should have sex if you plan to stay together. If sex or affection isn't there, reconsider the marriage. Divorce is the best option in many cases. If you can prove infidelity, you'll get more in the divorce settlement. Make your decision and stick with it. If you can't leave because you don't have money or a job, make a plan. Leave when you're ready. Healing is rarely total. There will be a permanent scar. Find an online support group like Beyond Affairs Network, dearpeggy.com. In all fairness, many affairs are no big deal for the one cheating. He or she sees it as a side dish to their main squeeze. That's it. They want to stay married. Men are not monogamous by nature. Nowadays, we have emotional cheating over the internet. Chapter 2. We are human, we must forgive sometimes. Forgiveness, the true test of love. Even if he wrongs you 7 times a day and each time turns again and asks forgiveness, forgive him. Luke 17:4. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Mahatma Gandhi. Love is an act of endless forgiveness, a tender look which becomes a habit. Peter Ustinov. When somebody crosses you, true love is forgetting about it and moving on. Forgiveness is letting what was be gone, what will be, come, what is now, be. Forgiveness is the toughest of all, especially after a flagrant indiscretion, but it may be the only way to save an otherwise doomed relationship. Good to forgive, best to forget. One time, because of lack of money, I had to live with someone for a while who turned out to be this really nasty person who kept disrespecting me over and over again. Even though I was not in an economic position to be on my own, everybody still has an inherent level of worth as a human being that no other human being is righteously allowed to cross if they are decent people. Did I ever learn a lot about forgiveness in those few months? It saved me from killing her and scattering her ashes all over hell. It can be the hardest thing in the world to do when someone disrespects you, takes liberties with you, is blatantly rude to you or violates something about you. If you want to stay in the relationship, you have no choice but to forgive them. In my case in this situation, I had to forgive this person constantly in my own mind in order to stay sane and not do something violent. My other option was to leave, which I did after a few months, but if you're married, it's not that easy. I think that everybody knows what the line of disrespect is. Sometimes mix-ups do happen, there is misinterpretation and people inadvertently do things to hurt or disrespect others, but I don't think most people are as stupid as they pretend to be. They know when they're being callous and do it anyway. Personally, I would not tolerate this in a relationship, somebody constantly being nasty to me. I would get out, but if you want to stay, you have to constantly forgive them. It's hard, especially for someone like me who believes that it's fine to ignore me, but to consciously disrespect me is an attack against me, and I have violent thoughts against people who attack me like this if I'm minding my own business. I think forgiveness is the hardest thing in the world to do because it goes against your primal nature to destroy this other person. The entire Christian edict is based on this. Thank God for this, because if we didn't have it, we'd be hacking each other to pieces even more than we are now. I saw a TV show about these natives in New Guinea. Some other natives moved into the area, this tribe felt they disrespected them, so they killed them and ate them. They told the white guy there and his camera crew not to worry. They only killed people who deserved it. This is man's true nature. We are not necessarily evil, although some of us are, but when someone crosses the line with us, forgiveness is the last thing on our minds. Revenge is the first, which is why forgiveness is so hard. It's not about our actions. It's about other people pushing our buttons. Some older dude told me one time that time and patience heals everything. At the time, I thought he was a wimp, but have since realized that time heals most things except for when those thoughts come up, which is why I try to eliminate all negative thoughts of the past. It's not worth it to keep getting angry over and over again. I have no easy answers. I'm a black and white kinda guy. You disrespect me more than 3 times and that's it for me. The relationship is over as far as I'm concerned. I don't have the endless patience that the book of Corinthians talks about in its definition of love. Can you love your love when she doesn't love you and nobody loves her because she's being nasty? That's the biggest test of all. Too many people are quick to bail out when the going gets tough, but the toughest lovers know their love is still worthy inside and ride out the storm. Grace means absolute love, a forgiveness of all sins before they're even committed, which is unconditional love, which is how soulmates love each other, with infinite grace. One of the few places you find unconditional love is through the religions and mythologies of the world. God the Father loves his people no matter what. The Father took the prodigal son back after his wild ride that led to self-destruction. Forgive not 7 times, nor 7 times 7, but 7 times 7 times 7. How do you mend a broken heart? You mend it slowly and patiently with love, forgiveness, self-acceptance, and acceptance of your partner, warts and all, as long as he or she are not abusive, just a regular human being with the regular foibles of being human. You gotta give a little bit and forgive and forget when the crap hits. Love is the result of thinking good thoughts about the person. Even when you feel negative, if you continue to think good thoughts, they will translate into good feelings and then action. Think good thoughts through thick and thin. A foundation is built on trust and honesty. Happy couples forgive and ask for forgiveness when required. After you break up with someone and it's for some reason like they dumped you for someone else, for your own sanity, it's best to forgive them and let them go, even if just in your own mind, rather than constantly being angry stewing about how they betrayed you. To me, every day is a new day. I try to get my dose of life out of inspiration, hedonism, and love every day. Whatever happened yesterday is gone. I forgive and forget all the bad people and bad things that ever happened to me. As a matter of fact, every morning when I wake up, I don't think about anything from my past. I just think about me and what I have to do right then to keep myself feeling strong and vital. It's the only way you will get through life relatively unscathed. Don't give control of your life to the people who wronged you, who you now hate. Forget about them. Focus on your life, not on how much you hate them. Some people want to punish ex-loves by telling them how much they hurt them. I say, why bother? They won't really care. They'll just play along. Forgive them all in your own mind, forget them all and focus on living a happy life for yourself. Read the Bible and go to a few sermons to calm you down. Whenever somebody gets me angry, I watch Christian TV for a while to calm me down and get my proper perspective back. The unforgivable moment. The unforgivable moment is one person saying or doing something so nasty that the other person will never forgive them for it even if they stay together. That one act is so mean that they never forget it. To my way of thinking, if someone does this to you once, there is something deeply wrong with your relationship. It is not loving. They will do it again and again if you stay. I'm so absolutist when it comes to people that I believe, with supposed loved ones, there is no middle ground, but of course I'm wrong. In real life, people in relationships go through circles of like, love, indifference, don't like and hate all the time. They hate their spouse, then a week later, they like them again. You have to in order to live with each other. I went through this with siblings and parents while growing up, then did it for a while in relationships, and if you have kids, even when they cross the unforgivable moment by insulting you time and time again, you are still supposed to take them back and love them. This is the way we are taught and this is the Christian edict, but I'm more basic than this simply for my own sanity and peace of mind as an individual. I believe that someone either loves you or they don't. There is really no middle ground. And if you don't love them, you could either be indifferent to them or hate them. It doesn't really matter which, in the sense that the fact is that you don't love them. Mean-spiritedness is the standard of hate. If someone goes beyond the line of neutrality and indifference to disrespect, insults, sarcasm, contemptuous looks, snickers, the silent treatment, etc., to my way of thinking, they have crossed the line. They are unhealthy to be around, so do the logical thing, leave them even if it is your spouse. It's easy to pick up on mean-spiritedness by the little things they do. It might be them, that they are generally miserable people with a problem and stress in their own lives which they are taking out on you, but that's not a good enough excuse and does not justify bad behavior. I say, if they're like that, why bother being with them or being a friend? Somebody just has to insult me one time where I feel they're attacking me personally for one reason or another, either because of their own ego problems or they have something against me like jealousy, or they just decide to hate me because I'm too different from them and can't be controlled by anybody. To me, they have crossed the line. To my way of thinking, they are not with me, so they must be against me and I don't want them around. This is where I differ from most people. I have been in relationships where I felt I was disrespected time and time again. I stayed in one for about 3 months longer than I should have because of economic instability, but I got out as soon as I could. There are a lot of people out there in these types of relationships that never get out. They take this violation of the unforgivable moment over and over again. I say, don't do it. You're worth more than that. When somebody crosses that line, they're saying that they hate you in an insulting way. Why be around someone like that? It's always best to use restraint than to spew off too much at your lover, regardless of what they might have done to you and what anger you're feeling in the moment. Bite your tongue. Cool off for a minute before you speak. You can always leave the relationship. Forgiveness quotes. To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you. Louis B. Smedes, 1921-2002. He who forgives ends the quarrel. Anonymous. Forgiveness is not an occasional act, it is an attitude. Martin Luther King, Jr. 1929-1968. There is no revenge so complete as forgiveness. Josh Billings, Henry Wheeler Shaw, 1818–1885. Life is an adventure in forgiveness. Norman Cousins, 1915–1990. Compassion will cure more sins than condemnation. Henry Ward Beecher. They learn tolerance for others' faults through our tolerance of their own. Kathy Ridner Templesman. We must develop and maintain the capacity to forgive. He who is devoid of the power to forgive is devoid of the power to love. There is some good in the worst of us and some evil in the best of us. Martin Luther King, Jr. Forgiveness does not change the past, but it does enlarge the future. Paul Bussy, 1668–1738. Every man should keep a fair-sized cemetery in which to bury the faults of his friends. Henry Ward Beecher. Little, vicious minds abound with anger and revenge and are incapable of feeling the pleasure of forgiving their enemies. Lord Chesterfield. Only the brave know how to forgive, it is the most refined and generous pitch of virtue human nature can arrive at. Lawrence Sterne, 1713–1768. Since nothing we intend is ever faultless and nothing we attempt ever without error and nothing we achieve without some measure of finitude and fallibility we call humanness, we are saved by forgiveness. David Augsburger. Never does the human soul appear so strong and noble as when it forgoes revenge and dares to forgive injury. Edwin Hubble Chapin. To carry a grudge is like being stung to death by one bee. William Walton, 1902–1983. There's no point in burying a hatchet if you're going to put up a marker on the site. Sidney Harris, 1917–1986. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. Henry Ward Beecher. Without forgiveness, there's no future. Archbishop Desmond Tutu. Forgive many things in others, nothing in yourself. Osanuis, 310–395. It is very easy to forgive others their mistakes, it takes more grit and gumption to forgive them for having witnessed your own. Jessamine West, 1902–1984. To understand is to forgive, even oneself. Alexander Chase. I will permit no man to narrow and degrade my soul by making me hate him. Booker T. Washington. Forgive, son, men are men, they needs must err. Euripides, 480–406. To understand all is to forgive all. French proverb. It is only imperfection that complains of what is imperfect. The more perfect we are, the more gentle and quiet we become towards the defects of others. Joseph Addison, 1672–1719. The weak can never forgive. Forgiveness is the attribute of the strong. Mohandas Gandhi, 1869–1948. No snowflake in an avalanche ever feels responsible. Voltaire. Forgiveness is man's deepest need and highest achievement. Horace Bushnell, 1802–1876. It is easier to forgive an enemy than to forgive a friend. William Blake, 1757–1827. The heart of a mother is a deep abyss at the bottom of which you will always find forgiveness. Honoré de Balzac, 1799–1850. Forgiveness is the fragrance the violet sheds on the heel that has crushed it. Mark Twain. You don't have to accept the invitation to get angry. Instead, practice forgiveness, empathy and encouragement. Dan Fallon. The past is a guidepost, not a hitching post. L. Thomas Holdcroft. Chapter 3. Peace of mind / self-forgiveness. Peace of mind 1. Infinite patience is the key to a peaceful life. If the whole world around you is going crazy, don't lose your peace of mind. Flow with whatever may happen and let your mind be free. Stay centered by accepting what you're doing. This is the ultimate. Changzi. What is important is to see how we can best lead a meaningful everyday life, how we can bring about peace and harmony in our minds. Dalai Lama. Peace of mind is to have no expectations beyond life right now. Peace is inner wealth, the heart of a child. Peace is when we realize the world doesn't give a damn about us regardless of what we do or don't do for it. Do what you do from your soul, then you will find peace, which will lead to freedom. Patience is the greatest virtue to have. Oftentimes, the world won't bend to what you want. If you lash out to hurt others who you feel are responsible for your problem, you will alienate them more and not get those things you want out of them. Life is just time. You have to be happy no matter what. I've been disappointed with people at times who didn't come through for me when they said they would, but I learned to keep my mouth shut, keep living my life, do those things that make me happy on a daily basis, and wait patiently for those things I want to further fulfill my life. If you can be happy right now with who you are and what you got and wait patiently for those other things you want, you're way ahead in the game of living a happy life. Sincerity and patience equals inspiration. You can't stay inspired without a sincere motive, doing something out of love for the process. Many people want to be great writers, rock stars, movie stars, politicians, etc., but they know unless they're way lucky, it ain't gonna happen overnight. They have to proceed on the journey with love for the process itself to fuel their fires of inspiration, and only then, after they do it out of a sincere love for the process, will they get there to where they want to be. If you don't have patience for something to aspire to do the work that it takes to become a master in some capacity, it means it's not part of your soul, you weren't meant to do it in the first place. You will know you will have found your calling when you're willing to spend endless hours at the process without any immediate visible material reward. Peace begins when expectations end. The way I do it is, even if I'm prevented from releasing my natural energy because of some circumstance that happened, injury, sickness, other obligation, I will continue on in positive motion by using up my natural energy in some alternative positive way. This is what keeps me stable in the long run. I keep releasing my positive energy one way or another. When my computer broke down and the computer repairman turned out to be less than competent, I stayed cool and waited it out rather than losing patience with him, and in the end it was better for me because I used that time to go to the library and read books I never would have bothered with had he fixed my computer quickly. Nothing can bring you peace but you. The easiest way to have peace of mind is not to give a damn about anything. I've found my peace by accepting my life for what it is. Life is now, in the moment. That's why it's alright to have goals and live for your dreams and all that stuff, but joy and happiness is how you feel during all the moments of the waking day. Therefore, you must not fill yourself up with struggles and going hard for it all the time. Live for peace of mind, a mind unfettered by trivial, stressful things, a mind that's free to engage in its own thoughts without being burdened by problems. It's the freedom to live my life according to my standards, to do with my time as I see fit and deem worthy, as long as I don't cross the line into somebody else's space. I realize that it's a luxury to most people stuck in the world of work and bills, but that's really where it's at, to pursue your perception of your God-given purpose in a totally free way with no hassles or stress whatsoever. Many of the self-improvement concepts in our society assume that we're all ambitious and going for something, but there are cultures in the world that live peaceful, agrarian lives with no ambition whatsoever because they know where they are, where they've been all their lives, and know what they will be doing the next season. Ambition is not necessarily a requirement for success in life, peace of mind is. The expectations we place on ourselves to make it in life generally fill us up with stress. Quite simply, you have to get over setting yourself up like that and live for peace. Look at the level of the peace of mind in your life as your gauge of happiness. If you feel peaceful, everything's fine, but the more troubled and distracted you feel, the more your life is off-center. It's that simple. You have to wipe away the past no matter how bad it was, get unstuck from your rut by facing yourself as the real person you are, find out what you're unhappy about, make the appropriate plans, act on them, and simply choose to live for peace of mind unfettered by all the crap you see on TV about materialism and keeping up with the Joneses. The minute you start striving to become who you really are is the minute you move into the positive zone, and in as little as a week, you will start to feel like a lot more powerful person as long as you work at it every day. Money buys you freedom, but it's not worth sacrificing your life for. You're always gonna be in the same place, in your own mind, so you might as well enjoy it instead of knocking yourself out. Life is just time, whether you're 30, 40, or 80 years old. The world keeps rolling on by every day, and ain't no one gonna do much for your life but you, because you alone live it, so you might as well make your plans for happiness and do it. What's really the difference if you live in a 1,000 square foot cottage or a 10,000 square foot mansion? It has absolutely no effect on how you feel within yourself unless you make it so. It goes the same for most other things. Peace of mind too. My philosophy is that my life is my artwork. I enjoy it every day. It's a simple life by anybody's standards, yet I had the guts and the insight to get through all the crap in the world, realize what's real, and now live it my way in peace. I let everything just run off my mind like a river that washes it all away. I know I will be dead someday just like you, so my time for living is right now. There's no such thing as perfect. You can only go so far, and that's it. None of these things in and of themselves will bring happiness anyway. Happiness is a state of mind independent within itself. Don't judge yourself too harshly no matter what. Don't live in the fantasy world of big dreams, then bust your butt to get there only to find that you either can't, or if you do, you will find it's empty in and of itself. Life is a journey, meaning that you simply strive to live the best you can every day, one day at a time. That's all you can do. There is nothing magical that happens when you reach a certain goal, like make $1 million or win a trophy or something. You might feel good for a while, but then it's back to same mundanity. The same goes if you fail at something. So what? It's all washed away in the stream of life anyway. I remember they were interviewing one guy who had a shot at the title 30 years ago or so. The interviewer asked him how he thought his life would have changed if he won. The old guy looked at him and said it didn't matter, he was still the same guy with the same soul whether he won or lost. You have to adopt that outlook where you live for joy, beauty, and sex, or whatever else you're into. Whatever you do, you gotta have a sense of humor about it. If you smoke, you're pounding nails into your coffin. If you keep things welling up inside, it will get to you. Talk it out with someone like a friend, lover, yourself, or even a dog if you have to, or run 10 miles, then nothing else matters. If you're the worrying kind, get control of the situation, do the best you can and stop worrying. Kiss all your guilt goodbye. If you encounter a crisis or a significant change in life, deal with it, get control back and move on. Work at your own pace. Don't obsess over time. You've got plenty until you die, then it won't matter. Always be flexible. Find something to let off steam and enjoy life. Life is simple if you let it be. We're no different than the cavemen who roamed the earth 10,000 years ago. Once our basic needs are met, why worry? Enjoy it. It's that simple. Be a peaceful, loving person and pass it on. Love others, accept others. Culture a sense of meaning in life. Love a person or a pet and allow yourself to be loved. Absorb it when offered. Pets, children and / or a belief in God can help keep you loose, loving and innocent. A poor memory, the ability to forget quickly, is the greatest asset for peace of mind, as is living for the present only. Don't whine, accept what comes. Live the life that's right for you, not what you think the world, media, and people want from you. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Forget after you forgive. Love yourself and others. Inspire and renew yourself all the time. Know yourself. Find your purpose in life. No matter what happens, so what, life still goes on the same as it always has. Be too busy living life by day to worry, then be too tired at night to worry. Listen when people talk to you. Be a teacher, encourager, or a helping force in some way. Get along with the people around you, eliminate the bad ones from your life, meaning get a divorce if you think you need one. Be in control of your life. Accept what happens. Do everything in your control to make it better. Emotions should be servants, not masters. Focus on what's really important, go easy on the rest. If you can't have what you desire, change your desires. Don't cause hatred and discord in whatever situation you might be in. Don't lie for personal gain. Don't do work that profits by harming other people. The world is abundant. There is plenty of work where everybody wins. Don't make your money by bringing negative things into the world. The people who make violent movies, slutty music videos and graphically violent video games know they're dishonoring the spirit of humanity with that cheap exploitative stuff. Do not bind yourself to any doctrine, religion, or ideology. Go to church if you want, but your faith is your own within yourself. Don't bother with all those phony politicians who take sides in that phony game of Republican/Democrat. The real issue is the haves and the have-nots, and the politicians are all the haves. Protect life in all its aspects. Your knowledge of the world is ever-changing and evolving. Don't be narrow-minded. Be accepting of everything that happens. Try to be around positive people. Stay away from negative people. Take a break when you need one. Stay loose. Accept yourself as is. You can't be everything to everybody. Know your limits both in how much effort to expend in anything and how many material things to possess. Your troubles have no value, so throw them away. Regardless of the day, be thankful for it. Don't live in the past or the future. Live only one day at a time in the present. Try to be as calm as a relaxed, sitting, purring cat. To be upset with what you don't have is to be ungrateful for what you do have. Talk gently to people, but don't force anything on anybody. Be aware of all the suffering in the world and help out in your little way. Don't get rich then be greedy about it. Let go of all anger and hatred. Finally, although I'm not an alcoholic and never had any problems with any addictions, I nevertheless found solace when I first read the Serenity Prayer, which is the theme of Alcoholics Anonymous and other addictions groups. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Living one day at a time. Enjoying one moment at a time. Accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. Taking, as he did, this sinful world as it is. Not as I would have it. Trusting that he will make all things right if I surrender to his will. That I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with him forever in the next. Amen. For books on meditation, check out hashtag 158.12 and hashtag 299.93 or BL 624.2 at your local library. For books on relaxation, check out hashtag 612.2, hashtag 613.79 and hashtag 616.132. Check out hashtag 248.40-80 at the library for some books on peace of mind. Born Again Innocence / Self-Forgiveness. Grass comes back green as ever every spring. Any human being can come back from anything if they want to. Post-traumatic stress is for suckers, losers and wimps. Be kind, compassionate and totally forgiving. Ephesians 4:24. Then Peter came up and said to him, Lord, how often shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him? As many as 7 times. Jesus said to him, I do not say to you 7 times but 70 times 7. Matthew 18:21:211. I can be relatively happy, calm, and stable living my own life, but there is always something beyond my control clouding my mind, namely the injustices people commit against me. It's only normal to be let down or taken advantage of by others. It's just par for the course. If I took vengeance on all the people who wronged me the way I wanted, I'd be in jail for life by now. If I seethed in anger at them as I did when I was young and stupid, I would have aged a lot more by now. So I learned that forgiveness in the biblical sense may not be my forte, but my strength is my ability to forget. I can't waste my energy dwelling on all those people who have taken potshots at me, stolen things from me, lied to me, didn't keep their commitments, etc. Born again innocence is just another term for keeping the sanctity in your soul, which I do by not letting anything from the world poison me in any way at all. Many people are their own worst enemies. You bottle up things inside and let them fester all to hell until you're totally miserable all the time. When you hate people, it's hard work because it's a burden to be hateful. When you forgive and forget, it lifts the burden and makes you peaceful. It's that easy. If you keep your hate and negativity in, it will destroy you. If you forgive and forget, you can focus on what's really important in developing your life. A big one is guilt. You do things because people in your life try to make you do them out of a feeling of obligation as opposed to love. Some people can't say no. They have to please. They don't want bad vibes, so they try to be good people, but people sense this and take advantage of them. You ultimately don't have to please anyone but yourself. Many people are stuck in these pits all the time and can't seem to get out. You have to have the ability to find out what's ailing you, resolve it in your mind and throw it away. Forgive all your enemies too, even if only in your own mind. Don't let them rent space in your head. Go easy on yourself. Everybody thinks evil and carnal thoughts in their minds. Everybody has sexual and violent fantasies. So what? It's part of being human. Everybody has done things they're ashamed of, but if you can acknowledge that you were a jerk, forgive yourself and move on, you will feel a lot better. We're only human. It's nothing to be ashamed of. No matter who you are, no matter how wretched and vile you were, the Bible relishes in the fact that you can find forgiveness and become new again. The guy who wrote Amazing Grace did it after feeling ashamed of being part of the slave trade. Check out the story of former Alabama Governor George Wallace. He started out a good man trying to help all people because he had come from impoverished roots, but when he lost the election in 1958, he said that he had been outniggered by his opponent, so in order to win the next one, he had to sell his soul and denounce blacks in order to appease the whites, who were largely the only ones voting then because of trivial voting laws like the necessity for land ownership before you're allowed to vote and other laws designed to keep the good, old boy club in control. Later on, whether real or just another election ploy, he publicly denounced himself, sought forgiveness and won a third bid for the governorship as a paraplegic, largely with the black vote. The point is that he found some peace by going back to his true soul. I believe you can do this on your own by willing it so. No matter what crap you've been through in life, no matter how jaded you are now about the negative forces in the world, no matter how far away you are from your soul, you can find your way back to the simplicity and innocence of the person you were at the age of 10 before all the crap in the world hit you. Just because your soul is filthy and dirty now, just because you feel you may have done unspeakable, unforgivable acts, you can wash it all away by choosing to become a kid again in your outlook. Simplify your life and forget about the past like you're washing it all away down the river. I'm the most cynical bastard in the world, but on another level, I choose to keep my innocence and simplicity. It's given me peace of mind and added years to my life. I knew a girl who was a heroin addict and worked as a stripper, but to look at her, you'd never know because she washed it all away and went back to being the nice, innocent person she was before she got into all that stuff. She chose to go back to her real self, then threw away all her sleazy clothes, makeup, and jewelry, let her hair go back to its natural color, and it worked. She's beautiful now. Forgiveness is love and peace. Try to forgive all who have sinned against you to lighten your heart and clear away the burdens of hate and anger. Forgive your deceased relatives and ask them to forgive you. Do whatever it takes to clear your conscience. Get the bitterness out of your soul. Clear your mind and live for peace. Forget about all the negatives in the world. Just like Christians are told to forgive not 7 times but 7 times 7 times 7, Buddhists too are told to turn the other cheek, to be nonviolent, to forgive, to take all loss and offer victory to the transgressor. If you've got a beef with someone, forgive them rather than live with the burden in your mind. Ultimately, the winner is the one with peace of mind who has no interest in the win-lose games people out in society play. Chapter 4. Forgiveness and Self-Forgiveness Websites. Forgiveness websites. Defori.com, release anger and return to love through exploring this forgiveness audio program. en.wikipedia.org/wiki/forgiveness. Forgive.org. Forgiveness.truden.com. Forgivenessday.org. Forgiveness-institute.org. Forgivenessweb.com. Islamworld.net/pos7.html. Jesus1.com/toheaven/poetry/forgiveness.htm. jmahoney.com/forgiveness.html. learningtoforgive.com. learningtoforgive.com. godrealized.org/forgiveness.html. learningtogive.com/search/quotes. maryhayesgreeco.com/forgiveness/forgive.asp. radicalforgiveness.com. sandywhitehead.com/forgive.htm. teachmedad.wordpress.com/tag/forgiveness. theforgivenessproject.com. theporofforgiveness.com. therodofforgiveness.com. Forgiveness websites at dmoz-odp.org/society/relationships/forgiveness. Catherine B. Blount tfdn.org, Catherine Blount Foundation, named for her brutally murdered 19-year-old daughter. The Catherine Blount Foundation is a mother's effort to demonstrate and teach forgiveness. CelebrateLove.com/forgive.htm, forgiveness. Forgiveness-institute.org, International Forgiveness Institute Incorporated. Learningtoforgive.com, forgive for good. michaelhenderson.org.uk, Michael Henderson, the optimistic realist, promotes Michael Henderson's book Breaking the Chain of Hate on the Power of Forgiveness in the National and International Realm. theforgivenessproject.com, The Forgiveness Project, grassroots organization working in conflict resolution, reconciliation, and victim support. Forgiveness websites at mindremakeproject.org/resources. evworthington.squarespace.com/DIY-workbooks, DIY workbook series from the Positive Psychology Research Group at Virginia Commonwealth University. The Path to Humility, 6 practical sections for becoming a more humble person. Forgiveself.com/workbook/2015090 self-forgiveness%20 intervention%20 workbook.pdf. Moving forward, 6 steps to forgiving yourself, self-directed learning workbook, 2nd ed. thepadhoffforgiveness.com, forgiveness workbook, a step-by-step guide. Self-forgiveness websites. Books about forgiveness are at #179.9 or BJ1476 at the library. BeVulnerable.com. Miraculousduties.net. dig.com/health/_guide_to_happiness_via_self_forgiveness. empoweredwithin.com/products/forgiveness.html. energytherapy.net/self-forgiveness.htm. experience-festival.com/forgiveness/id/34919. expiredconvictions.com/tag/self-forgiveness. forgivenessweb.com/ridgerm/self_forgiveness.htm. forgiveyourself.com. coping.org/innerhealing/forgive.htm. healpain.blogspot.com. iloveyouLove.com/forgiveness/pfpself02.htm. roa.sagepub.com/cgi/content/abstract/27/3/267, self-forgiveness, a component of mental health. selfgrowth.com/article/rutledge2.html. spirituality-health.com/news/item/self-test/item_232.html. the-apologist.co.uk, apologize. youtube.com, type in forgiving yourself.